Welcome to our tutorial. This will be number 3 in the series. We're talking about the kadence theme and the kadence blocks, and we're building a website without using any of the professional purchased ones, only using the free blocks and the free theme. Today we're going to be covering building out a content page. We've already looked very briefly at the header and the footer, and we've looked at a blog layout, both a single blog and an archive. So what we're going to do today is look at how to build a page. Now, we're not going to be working to make an exact duplicate of this page. This is the page or the site that we've been using as something of a guide. We're going to do something that will be a little bit more helpful in teaching and learning rather than in just trying to duplicate this exactly. So what we're going to do first is change the parameters of the page a little. This is all a white background and white right in behind the content. We're going to change this a little so that it shows the difference between the containers and the columns and the content a little bit more clearly. So this is the one that we've been working on, and we're now going to go into editing this page. So let's have a look at editing this page. This is the page we're going to do. Before we do that, we're going to just change one or two things in the customizer. We're going to it's page layout that we want. Page layout. We're going to turn off the title. We're going to turn it into normal and boxed. And that's exactly what we want. Normal, yes. Go to design. And we want to make the site background color just this color here, so it gives us something a little bit more distinguishing between the content and the background. Okay, that's good. Now we go to edit that page, and we're going to delete a few things first. Let's come over here and we will disable that. That's good. We're going to have the default there. We're going to make it boxed. The padding is right. We want that. Yes, that's all good. That's how we'll work. Now, into here, this is the title, but we are going to now have a look in our block navigator, and there's a row there. We're going to get rid of everything out of here. Let's just delete the whole row. Delete the lot, and we will delete the lot. Remove the block. Now, this is what we did last week in relation to laying out posts. So now we're going to put 2 blocks back in again, and we'll take row layout. There we go. And we'll start with a 2-column layout to start with, and we'll put that up at the top. And then underneath that one, we're going to have, that's what we want. Underneath that one, we're going to have another row, but we're going to make this one just 1 row, 1 column, and put that up there. So that's the 2 we want. So we now have 2 containers. There's the first container, and there is the second container. Within the container, we then have columns, the first column and the second column. In this one, only 1. And then inside each, we then put the content. Now, it's good just to have one more look at these, because when you click those 3 little buttons, we get to open the block content. And this gives us an idea of what's going on. I like to have a look at the structure settings, and make sure that the content is the maximum content width is inherited from the theme. We can have that and it'll pick up 1200, or we could simply type in 1200 pixels there and update it. So that's good. Now let's work on this one. Inside this block, we're going to start with what used to be called an advanced heading. Now it's just simply called advanced text. So we start to type advanced text, there it is, and we're going to start with let's just say play safely, and that will be an H2 heading, so that's good. Let's actually, this is our main heading for the page, let's make it an H1. Then we return that, and all of a sudden now we're into paragraph content. To pick up the content from here, we're not going to invent anything, we're just going to come across here and pick up this text and use that text in here. And we're just going to paste it as simple text. So there it is. So there's our heading, there's our text, and we can update that and we get it to look at the page. So there's our first column. And we're going to put an image in this column over here. Now you can see what I mean about putting the background color in. It gives us a better idea of where the containers are. So the containers come from here through to there. And that's the containers, there's the column, there's the second column. We can take this background color off later on and it will just look full width white if that's the way we decide to do it. Now let's go back to editing this, and into this column here we're going to place an advanced image. So it'll be ADV and ADV image, and then we get to pick the image, and we're just going to take that image there, which was the one that was being used. Now we're not even looking at sizes or anything at this point. We're going to find that that's probably not the best size for us, but let's just look at the balance of the columns, and what we're saying is that the content should be at the top of each. Let's change that to make it the middle of each, and this column here also, that's good. So we update that, have a look at the page, and here's our heading, some text, an image, and this in here is the caption. So if we edit, we can see where that comes from also. Under the image, we get down here the opportunity, it should have an alt text, and how large we want the image to be, and further down there's a caption settings. So here we can turn the caption on or off. We can show the caption, and there's a couple of different ways of, we can change the color of the caption and the font size, etc. That all looks quite fine for what we're wanting to do. So we'll update it and leave it. Now, for the next one, I want to show you how to do a totally different layout. This is a very, very simple layout, and it's quite fine for most users, but we want to do something just a little bit different. So within this one, in this block, we're going to take that text and let's just take one paragraph of it, put it in the middle, and let's have a look for, and put in a pull quote. That's what we want. So we want this quote. Now we're going to do something to make this look a little bit different. We're going to put that image behind this and have it scroll over the image. Now to do that, we go to the row layout and we look at the background. So we go to the background settings and we select an image for the background. When we come, we can take any of these images will do. That one there will do. Let's say we take that one and we put it in, and we say to the image that we want it to cover the whole area. If it was just contained, then the area contains the image, but we want it to be the image to be spread out to cover the entire area. And instead of scrolling, because if we scroll now the image scrolls, we want to fix it and make it parallax. To do that, we also need to now come out and look at all of this text, and we want to change the color of the text to the text color to white. Let's do that. And that's not going to look perfect just yet, but you can see where we're headed. View the page, and now as we scroll up, you can see what's happening. The text is scrolling above the top of the image, and there's a parallax effect. Now we can put some more, put a line in there, a carriage return, and put more padding around it, both in here and in there, which we'll now do. We go to the page, and in this row, that row, we want to change the padding around the row from 25 to say 75 and 75. We need to do the same with this row. So we're going to go to that row, which is here, look at the settings of the row, go to padding and change that to 75 and 75. This just starts to open the page up a bit. 75 and 75. And we said we needed to change this a little, and let's just put a carriage return in there and maybe another one, and update. Now we view the page and we can see the parallax effect here. So that's quite neat. You may want to make this text larger, which we'll do. We definitely need some more gap in there, the margin, which we will also now do. So we'll edit this, go to that row, it's this row, and we want to open the settings and put some margin, some top margin of 50 pixels and bottom margin of at least 50, but let's go a bit more, 75, because we need to open this up way more and have a heading in there. Let's also make this a bigger font. 24 might be a bit big, but we'll see how that looks. So you start now to get the effect. Now, this really needs to come all the way across. So you can make this content now what's called wide, and it will come across to there. And then we can probably leave that bit and move on. So we'll edit. And in here, in this row, these tell us what the alignment is, and this will probably be no alignment. So if we go wide, it should just go right to the edge there, and I think that is going to look just a little bit smarter. View the page. So that starts to fill it out a bit. Now, if we weren't working with this, you could actually take that full width, and that's a very, very common thing to do. Once we play with the text here, you can do things like using a different font. You can put a little bit of box shadow. I'll just show you that very, very briefly. It helps it stand out a bit amongst the clutter. And there's another thing, there's two things we can do to make that text stand out a bit. We go to the row layout and we go to the background, and you can put in what's called a background overlay. And we're just simply going to, let's be a bit dramatic. You can make it orange and have as much as you like, or something really dramatic, the black color. Then there was an opacity here. You can increase the color, so that drops it back. If you were to use, say, the orange for that, that would be quite a nifty effect. It's definitely a graphic effect. Okay, so we're going to be happy with that. I mean, it now gets into graphic design and how you want this page to look, but that's the way you would build content. You do a container, you do columns, and then you do content. The same here: container, a column, and content. There are lots of different styles to do. Okay, so that's going to do us for the moment. That's basically how you build content in columns, images, and then putting images in behind. We're going to move on now to do one more thing in building content, and that's when we go to a blog. We said we were going to build out a sidebar, and so we'll do that now and see where that's done. And we also need to look at the search facility. A search facility on a website, particularly where there are a lot of blogs, is very, very useful for your user interface. If people are using a site and they're wanting to find your content, you really need to be able to make this search facility really work. Now, at the moment, this one is not very good, but I'll show you how we make it work. So we go to the dashboard, going to the sidebar. Sidebars are made up of what's called in WordPress widgets. So when we come into appearance, we go to widgets, and widgets are just little blocks of content, and you can generally use them. They're designed for going into footers and for going into sidebars. Sidebars. So here we go. Here's sidebar number 1. There's sidebar number 2, and then there's a number of footer widgets that we can use. You'll remember when we were looking in the theme and the customizer that sidebar 1 was selected as being the nominal sidebar to be used. There is the option of sidebar 2. So, and here it is here. And in sidebar 2, there's archives and categories, which we could put in this one if we wanted to. Now, to build this out, it's exactly the same as building any other content. We haven't got that block navigation here, but we do have it here. So this is sidebar 1, there's sidebar 2. These are the pieces of content that we have. There's the search there. So if we were to delete it, remove search, we put it back in again by adding, by hitting the plus sign here, adding a block. The block we want to add is the search block. There we go. So we add the search block and then put it up. So that's basically how we're building content over here. This is just a heading. That's recent posts and recent comments. So that's really building a sidebar. That's all that's involved in it, and we update it. The one thing that hasn't been done on the site that we're looking at, that we're now going to do, is to build a better, what's called a search results page. There are a couple of pages that should be on every website, every WordPress website, And when you come into Appearance and Customize, Kadence has pulled them out already for us and said these are the ones that you need to do. There's the page layouts and the blog posts we've already done. And this one here, Search Results page. So when you do a search, there's going to be a page that shows all the results. And we need to lay out how that's going to look. So that's where the title is. We'll leave the title on for this one. The archive layout, we'll make it we should leave it with the right sidebar so that we can still continue to search. It should be boxed, and 3 columns seems to work fairly well. So that's enough, and we can publish that. And then we come back and we go back to the page. So that now when we go to the site and we go to any of these and we do a search, let's search for the word safety and search. So now our results come up in 3 columns or 3 blogs. This is our homepage, and we didn't put a featured image on it. We should do that because it shows the featured image here. And this is how the search results come up. So now if we were to pick a different page, let's search the word dangerous and see what comes up. Dangerous, search. It only comes up on the one page. Now we need to go back and pick a featured image for this page so that it will be like all the others. Let's do that. Go to Home, edit this page. We'll take that clearly as the featured image, and we're going to look at the page, show the featured image. Here it is here, featured image, set a featured image. Now, the thing with the featured image, it should be, this isn't too bad, it should be 1200 by 627. Remember, we were looking at those OG images. Let's just use this one because it's pretty close, and we'll save it. Then go back to the page again, look at the blogs, do a search on the word dangerous, search, and there's our search results, and it's got an image, it's brought across the featured image, and it said your word dangerous appears here, and of course there it is. So this is how we can search. If we were searching on the word trampoline, I think it only appears once also. There it is. The word trampoline appears in that blog, and so now you can go to there and you find. So that's how the search function in the sidebar works. It's very, very helpful feature. So that's it for today. That's all we really wanted to cover, how to build out some content. So the video will be available, and the chapter markings will be in there.